want to thank you guys for your support these last few years in through the community, Alberta Business Community Connectors. So this presentation is called From Struggles to Success. I wrote about half of this, or maybe a third of this presentation, and I didn't get to doing the rest of it. So after I thought it's going to be boring if I just read from the notes, right? So I'm going to wing it after that. Okay. So so it's called From Struggles to Success, and I'll just tell you a little bit about me, sort of from the beginning. I'm an LPN, a nurse, and have been for 22 years. I've worked in hospitals, then as nursing manager, supervisor for home healthcare companies, and have worked in long-term care facilities as well. So quite a diverse, lot of different employment opportunities. In June of 2020, I started Step Up Foot Care in the middle of the pandemic. So it's been 3.5 years going strong. So a little bit about me, background. Don't be shocked, okay? I am a 3 times suicide survivor. I was adopted at the age of 10. My life before that was full of neglect and violence, living with my birth mother and her boyfriends, who it was very violent. And who was there to watch? Yes, of course, me. In my birth family, there's a long line of mental illness. Me, myself, I've been diagnosed with chronic depression and anxiety. My 3 uncles from my birth family have committed suicide. My birth mother is schizophrenic. My aunt is schizophrenic, who's passed away, unfortunately. And so there's a long line of mental illness, and that's partly what I want to talk about today and connect that to my success as well. So I guess I don't blame my birth mother for the neglect, as she was in her early 20s when she had me, and that's usually when the schizophrenia starts to set in. Neglect being not getting my basic needs met, being food, shelter, going to school with no lunch, sleeping in parks at night, scared to go home by myself, all under the age of 10. And which those years are supposed to be your very formative years, some of your very formative years. When I was adopted into my adopted family, being the Hudsons, I had a loving mom and a loving dad, fortunately, and 2 great brothers and 2 great sisters. It was a loving home, yet strict and religious. Not that that's a bad thing, but where I came from, it was so different. No rules, the neglect, right? So I couldn't handle the strict rules. And when I became a teenager, I started to rebel. To run away from home, I was in many different group homes, in foster homes. And at that time, being a teenager, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Life was tough. And during these years is when I tried suicide many times. The last time was one of the worst, as I almost didn't make it and was in hospital for a month unconscious. I know to this day that God saved my life. And I know that I'm meant to be here. I'm not religious per se, but I definitely do believe in God and often will pray, even for the smallest things. And he does answer my prayers. So after I was adopted and went through my teenage years and all that, I came into my early 20s, and that last time I tried to commit suicide, after that, I thought and it worked for me. And I'm not saying this is for everybody, but this is just my story, right? I thought, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself anymore. I thought I need to get on with life. And that's when I decided to become a nurse. And I started to have my children. I have 3 children, 2 are grown adults. And yes, so sorry, this is where I might need my notes for. Kind of trying to wing it here, but so I thought I'm not going to feel sorry for myself anymore. And for me, that worked because it was kind of a tough approach I had towards myself, but for me, that worked. And it just gave me the gumph to keep going. And I started upgrading my grades. I started upgrading my grades to get into nursing. I started having my children, and I basically, when I started my LPN course, I went to the Grant McEwen for a year with the RN program, but I had my oldest son who was only 4, and it was 7 courses at once, and that was too much because I had homework on the weekend or my son. So which did I choose? Obviously my son, right? So I worked on getting my LPN 1 course at a time. And I did that, and I worked 2 part-time jobs at the same time. And I'd had my second son who was just a baby. So it was 1 course at a time, which was very manageable. I basically would go to the library from 9 to 5, pretend it was a full-time job. And they were in daycare and kindergarten. And so I was able to complete my LPN in 2002. I was very proud of that for what I had accomplished, being through what I had been through, and to have that education, which is so invaluable. I had many different jobs when I graduated, like I mentioned to you. And eventually in 2020, like I said, I started Step Up Foot Care. It was at a time where the pandemic, and nurses couldn't work at 2 different jobs. We had to work at only 1 job, and I had 2 part-time jobs. So that wasn't making it financially, right? So the thought came to my mind, and my sister said it was God, which it probably was. The thought came to my mind okay, I've got my advanced foot care certificate, which I received in 2014. And I thought, I am going to just start my own business. And that was a thought, and I went with it. And there wasn't anybody influencing me or telling me to do this or to do that. I just went with what I thought was best. And to this day, I have not regretted it. I want to say that having a mental illness or a mental disorder, it has not been easy. You take it a day at a time. I try to stay very positive. I work on a lot of relaxation techniques for my anxiety. I just try to have positive thoughts, and I really try hard to work on that. I think if you have positive thoughts, you'll have positive actions. And if you put positive energy out there, positive energy will come back to you, karma. So like I said, it's been a struggle, but I guess I want people to know that mental illness is not awful or a disease. Everybody has their pain that they carry. Everybody does. We're human. We're human beings. And whether you have a mental illness or not, you can still create a wonderful life for yourself. And for me, that was creating my own business and becoming successful in that. I want to say as well that having a mental illness does not mean you're crazy, does not mean you're nuts. It is simply a disorder. Who out there has diabetes? Okay, I compare it to that because basically it's a chemical disorder and genetics plays a long line in that. And if you have diabetes, you take your blood sugars every day, take your medication, you see your doctor. Same with depression or schizophrenia or bipolar or any other mental health disorder. You follow up with your doctor. You have a good doctor. You have a good therapist, which is very important. You go on medication to correct that chemical imbalance. You take it day by day. You don't overwhelm yourself and just get totally overwhelmed. It's day by day, sometimes hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute. And not every day is perfect. I still have my bad days, and sorry, my son's just coming to join me here. So it's a matter of living day by day and using those techniques to help you, the relaxation, meditation, possibly yoga, positive thoughts. For me, I found that something that has been very powerful in my life is music. And I'll sing in the shower, as my son will testify to. And I just sing a song that I love and that's empowering is one of my favorite things to do. And I'm not the greatest singer, trust me. I am one of the worst singers out there, but I still love to belt it out in the shower. And one of the songs I want to tell you that I listened to that I actually read on a comment section that somebody says, I listen to this song when I'm having a bad day and it gets me going. So one of the songs is called I Won't Give Up by Jason Mraz. He has some wonderful songs that have a lot of great meaning in them. Another one, that's the most recent one of mine, and I will put it on Bluetooth and I will belt it out in my room singing it. Another one that I really enjoy is I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. And I used to sing that song when I was in my car, going down the white mud, just belting it out. And I just love to have music as a source of comfort to me and healing. Another thing with music is I like to listen to a lot of relaxation music. A big one is Jason Stephenson, who has a lot of anti-anxiety, relaxation techniques, relaxation music. And I find that very helpful. There's a lot. And then one thing I didn't bring up is I've raised 3 children on my own, being a single mom all my life. And this has been a struggle. And I have to say our little immediate family isn't perfect right now. And I have gone through some challenges as an adult with this. And there's been an instance where I came down with chronic fatigue in 2012, which was very debilitating. And my doctor told me I had to go on leave and I had to have somewhere for my children to stay. And my one son was able to stay with my sister, which I was very grateful for, but there's nowhere for my daughter to stay. My family was very busy. They were working very busy. So I reached out to some other people and on her dad's side of the family. And these people um, basically tried to take my daughter away from me. I feel that the professionals took advantage of the fact that I have a mental illness, that I had chronic fatigue, that I was down and out. And I feel that there was, in the end, I feel that it was the one psychologist was very one-sided towards that other party, these other parties. And I feel that that was very unprofessional. How I know that and how I see that is because at the end of the session, when he made his final speech or final, whatever you want to call it, decision, he got up at the end and he said, well, he was with them on their side. And he said, well, we'll see you on the trails again. And that to me just said everything because they like to bike. They like to bike a lot. And I think they must have lived in the same neighborhood. And he must have met them on biking on the trails or something. And for me, that said everything. He said that to them. I'll see you on the trails again. So to me, that was very one-sided, that he was on their side. So I feel that the professionals on their side did not do a great job in this situation. I fought for 9 years in court trying to get my daughter back, all because I came down with chronic fatigue syndrome and I had the mental illness. So they were very different from me. They were very well off, had their spouses, their parents who were very supportive. My brothers and sisters, our parents have both passed away some time ago. So I didn't have that extra support. So that being said, that's been one of the trials in my adult life. And to this day, at the very end of 9 years in court, okay, right? And at the very end, the judge was saying, no, Kimberly, you deserve to have your daughter back half time. She had obviously built a loving relationship. They take very well care of her. They took on lots of holidays, lots of vacations, but money isn't everything. And I didn't have that. So I was at a deficit, I felt. And yeah, so she had developed this relationship with them, and she was old enough now to make her own decisions. The judge had said, come to counseling with your mom. Like the judge ordered counseling with us together. The judge ordered for her to come with me half time and with them half time, which I accepted because I knew that she had developed this relationship with them. And she had bonded. And so I can't take that away from her. I couldn't take that away from her. And to this day, she is 14 going on 15, and she makes her own decisions. So I still try to keep in touch with her. I still try to keep that relationship going as her mother and try to visit with her as often as I can. My 2 boys are grown, and I respect their privacy as adults, so I'm not going to say much about them. But there's been some challenges being a single mom, right? And I feel just that if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it. And I just feel I've come to this point in my life, I'm content, I'm happy. I'm happy where I'm at. And I can't start to feel guilty about things because that's not a good place to be at. I look forward to the future. I try to be positive every day, and I smile a lot, which I think if you can give somebody a smile a day, that will brighten their day. Or say, that's a nice sweater you have, or that's a nice just give them a compliment, right? And try to make their day. In my foot care, I enjoy the physical aspects of it in doing the advanced foot care, but I so much also enjoy the relationship I have with my clients. It's very fulfilling, very rewarding. And if I can help them in any way, maybe sending them a birthday card or giving them flowers that visit or something, I will. Because that's just who I am and part of how I want my business to resonate. So I don't know if I talked long enough, but
Wow. So Kimberly, I have to say, I wrote some words down while you were speaking that I thought really described you. And one was brave, strong, resilient, and mature, right? Maybe mature before you should have been had to have been mature, right?
yeah,
That's truly what came to mind. I hope you're going to be coming to the Connections on the Move this month because we're going to be speaking a little bit about the Little Warriors. As you know, I'm
yes,
a
I will be.
drop-off. Great. We're a drop-off center, and they're actually building a lodge out there for adult survivors because it, as you're describing, it does not go away.
No,
So
it doesn't. No.
my personal thanks for sharing your story. That was amazing. And I can see how it would make you a compassionate and empathetic individual working with your clients.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Karen. Yeah, it's been a journey and it will continue to be a journey. And I just hope the company will grow and grow and grow and
I'm
just do the
sure.
best it can do.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Does anybody else want to speak to Kimberly this time?
Kim, I have to say that when you talk about music being very important, I couldn't agree with you more. And you and I probably have the same kind of singing voices. So if you would like to join me in a duet sometime, that would help take care of those people in our lives that just radiate, negative energy. They would be out of our lives. We could just sing away. And
That's right. I'd love to join you. I'd love to join you.
Okay, we can actually, you know what we can do is we can record a Zoom meeting and let's put it out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good for you.
For
Good
sure.
for you for doing what you've done. You've accomplished so much in your life, and that actually, creates so much inspiration as far as that's concerned. So thank you.
And I guess if I can help anybody today who has a mental illness or doesn't even have a mental illness, it would just say, don't give up. Keep going day to day because tomorrow is always a new day. I just we can do it. We're business owners. We're strong, right?
Absolutely.
One thing I forgot to mention is that something that you did put in my introduction, Karen, is that I'm Métis, and that obviously comes from my birth family, and I'm proud to be Métis, and I don't look Métis. I've got blonde hair, but I definitely am, and I'm proud of that from my birth family.
Good for you. And thanks for sharing that as well. Brian Gentle.
Kimberly, I enjoyed meeting you in Calgary. It seems like it was a very, very cold night.
Yeah.
So it must have been about a year ago.
Yeah. Exactly.
You have a remarkable story, and I applaud your resilience.
Thank you.
Wish you every success moving forward.
Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you.
I have a question though, Kim. You started your business in 2020 during COVID. What put you in that direction? What put you, to make that decision during that time frame?
During the pandemic?
Yeah.
It actually worked to my benefit because I found that a lot of my seniors, who I mostly cater to, they did not want to leave their home, right, because of COVID. So I started marketing and all that, and I found that people were just accepting for me coming into their home. Mind you, I screened them on the phone before the visit. I would always screen myself before and I would screen them as well when I got there and take their temperature. And so I kept everything very safe, right? But I have to say this probably because nobody wanted to leave their home. Yeah.
Great decision. Great
Yeah.
decision.
Tammy, you have your hand up?
Yes, I just wanted to acknowledge, like to thank you for sharing your story and your bravery to be so vulnerable with all of us, Kimberly. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that I came today to hear your story. One thing that resonated with me with your story is when you said that, you know, after your third suicide attempt, and then you decided you were just going to decide, no, I'm going to have a different life. I'm going to still move forward. Can you identify what it was inside of you that made you kind of shift your thinking and to have that much strength to still move forward?
Yeah, it's really interesting because, like I said, my last time I almost didn't make it. And so I was still dealing with the depression, anxiety, of course, but I guess I had I had just a change. I matured a lot, right? And I just a change of frame of mind. I just different frame of mind. For some reason, I don't know how and I don't know why, but I just had this gumph in me that no, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. So there wasn't really any one particular thing that kind of like event or anything that made me go on. It just was my thinking, and how I came to that, I don't really know. Could be
Now,
God.
there's people I know that haven't been through a quarter of the things that you've been through,
Mhm.
and they don't do half the things that you have done, right? But they feel sorry for themselves, and you know,
No, I understand that.
things
Yes.
for them, all these things, right? So it takes a great deal of courage and tenacity for you to just keep trudging forward, no matter what you were faced with.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that, for recognizing that. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's I've always been very resilient, as my family can testify to. I really I don't know how. Honestly, I don't. With the things that I've been through, but you know, like I said, I do believe in God. I do believe He has a power in our lives, and I will pray. I will pray at the smallest thing. God, please help me find my such and such, and I find it. Right? It's just and I'll pray for bigger things as well. And I'm not religious per se, like I said, but I think God has a big factor in it.
Amazing. Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Kimberly, for sharing
You're
that story.
very
Is
welcome.
anybody else got a story, something, Kirsten?
Hi, Kirsten.
Hi, Kimberly. Great to see you today. I'm so glad
You
that I
too.
came.
Yeah.
Like Tammy said, it is thank you so much for being so vulnerable, for sharing your story. Something that's changed for me since we met is I've been trained in complex trauma as a coach and group facilitator. And so I'm hearing elements of that, but I'm also hearing not just really what is contributing to your resilience. I mean, I think Tammy really hit the nail on the head, that decision. There is an element of acceptance. I also hear elements of self-compassion. And when you can say that you don't blame your mom, you have compassion for where she was, that she was probably doing the best that she could, even though it wasn't what you deserved in any way, shape, or form. But it's through that self-compassion and that decision to accept what is your lot, that it's your responsibility to change your truth. That's what has gotten you so far. And I know that there are some, like Tammy said, there are many people who will not take that responsibility and go into pity. And I still don't understand what the decision or where that comes from. Like Tammy was trying to ask, what made you decide? I have another client who also was like, I'm making these decisions and I'm getting somewhere, and I see all these people who are complaining, and I tell them this is what you have to do, and they just won't. And it's a mystery, and I'm just grateful that you are on this path, and I'm grateful that you shared that with us today.
Thank you so much. Kristen. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thanks again, Kim. You know what? It's Kimberly, it's just been an absolute amazing meeting. I'm going to end the recording now.